Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the live lecture of functional analysis. In the last lecture, we have seen one of the property of the function to be linear. That whenever a function is given to be linear, then P inverse exists and is continuous on its domain, if and only if it is going to satisfy this kind of inequality. This is somewhat opposite or complementary or converse to the statement or the inequality for function t is to be bounded, right now. Therefore, t inverse exists and continuous if and only if m norm of x is less than or equals to norm of x. This is one of the property of linearity we have seen. Okay. Also, we have introduced a definition of norm of bounded linear operator. The structure and the reasons we have discussed in the last lecture, that of a definition says that norm of this function t is defined to be norm of t equal to supremum norm of t of x belongs to x provided norm x is less than or equals to. Means we were considering only those vectors of the domain which are enclosed in the closed unit sphere. This norm is usually called as an operator norm. This is what a structure I told you how this is being calculated. That is, whenever S is the subset of the domain closed unit sphere, norm x less than or equals to 1, the corresponding elements will be in T of S. And we were going to find out norm of every vector, and after finding the norm of all the vectors as the set is bounded, we will find out its suprema. Is that clear to everyone? Okay. And also we have seen one more theorem which tells us whatever the definition we have seen for norm of an operator is equivalent to three more definitions. That is, this condition norm x less than or equals to 1 can be replaced by norm x equal to 1. Similarly, it can be written as supremum norm t of x upon norm of x provided x not equals to 0. And fourth one tells us that this is inferior among the positive constants k, where this k satisfies this kind of inequality. This is the inequality we were writing to say that the function t is bounded, right? That one can say very clearly norm t is infimum such a value satisfying this inequality. Is that okay? And to
Yes,
prove
ma'am.
this, to prove the equivalence of those four statements, we have assumed the right hand sides to be m1, m2, m3, and f4. And by using some simple steps, we have proved all those four are equal. One m1 equal to m2 equal to m3 equal to m4. All these statements are equivalent. Also, we have written from statement number 3 that norm of t of x is norm t into norm of x, and this norm t is inferior such a bound, inferior value satisfying this inequality. Norm t of x is less than or equals to k into norm of x. Now, keeping this definition in mind, let us go for solving some simple examples to find out the norm of the given operator. Okay, let me write the first example. If t is a function defined from x to y defined by t of x is equal to 0 for all x in x, then prove that t is bounded operator. T is bounded and norm t is equal to 0. Actually, no need to use the definition of operator norm. Without using also, can I say that this t is bounded? What kind of function it is defined? T of x equal to 0 for all x in x. Therefore, may I say this is a 0 function? It
Yes,
takes a
ma'am.
value 0. Okay, if it takes a value 0 for all the elements in the domain, therefore it is bounded surely, no? Okay, this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
bounded. What remains to find out the value of norm of t. Okay, now here we will just find out the norm operator norm from the definition. What is given? I will write again. Given p of x is equal to 0 for all x in x. Okay, therefore by definition 1, I will use definition 1. What is the definition of operator norm? One definition, supremum norm of T of x provided x is in x. And what is the restriction? Norm x is
less equal by
Less
1.
equal by 1.
very good. Norm x is less than or equals to 1. Now can anyone tell me the value of T of x for these values norm x less than or equals to 1? Actually the function is defined to be 0 for all the elements in the domain. Correct now? That is, this is my x. This is our x. This is a closed unit sphere S. Okay. And this is mapped to some y, say. And let this be T of s. Function is given to be 0 for all the elements x in x. Therefore, what will be the image of elements in S under T?
0.
It is 0 again. Therefore, nothing to discuss actually. Therefore, can I substitute the value directly? This is 0. Norm T of x is 0 for the elements in the closed unit sphere also. Correct? Now, what is the value of norm of 0?
0.
0. Then what is suprema 0 under the same condition? How many values
0.
we are getting? Infinite values. And which is bounded set, hence it is 0. Supremum of 0. This is actually a singleton set 0, na?
Yes,
Therefore,
ma'am.
supremum will be 0. What is the value of norm T we were getting? Norm T is 0. And if this norm is having a finite value, may I say T is bounded. T is bounded. Okay. Let me go for second example. Again, if T of T is a function defined from x to y, is defined as T of x equal to x.
Identity.
Yes, it is identity. What will be the value of norm T then? Can you guess?
1.
Yes, it is 1. Let us prove. What is given? T of x is equal to x for all x in x. It is an identity function, right? This is a identity function. Let me use my definition 1. Let me use my definition 1, or one can use definition 2 also. Okay. What is the definition? Norm T equal to supremum norm T of x, x in x, norm x is less than or equals to 1. Let me substitute the value of T of x. This is norm of x. Norm of x, x is in x, provided norm x is less than or equals to 1. Can you tell me the value, suprema value? Norm x is restricted to be less than or equals to 1. Then what will be the supremum value?
1.
Yes, it is 1. Correct, no? Why 1? This is our circle, or sorry, unit sphere. Okay. These are the vectors where this vector norm x is having a radius, or the radius is of unity, right? And the vectors on the boundary of this unit sphere has norm value 1. That of vectors in the interior of the unit sphere has the norm value less than 1. Less than 1. Then what will be the suprema among these two possibilities? One norm value takes equal to 1, another norm value takes the value less than 1. Then what will be a supremum value? It's 1. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Any difficulty with this?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Let us go for the third example. In the third example, now we were defining one mapping from x to a quotient space, and we were going to check the function is bounded, and we'll try to find out its norm value also. Let x be any nonlinear space. X be any non-linear space, and M be closed subspace of X. M be closed subspace of X, and P is a function defined from x to x by m. Now we are familiar with this quotient space, right? No, in detail we have seen
Yes, ma'am.
this. Okay, this is defined by. This is defined by. How can anyone tell me a definition? How can I define t of x equal to? What is the nature of elements in x and x by m?
X plus M.
Yes, it is x plus m. See, for every small x in x, what is the corresponding element? X plus m. Okay. The function is defined at t of x equal to x plus m for all x in x. Okay. I think someone has unmuted the mic. Then it is asked us to prove that t is bounded and linear and norm t less than or equals to 1. This is what we wanted to show. Okay. Is the definition clear? T defined from x to x by m is defined to be t of x equal to x by x t of x equal to x plus m. How many points to prove actually? 3 points. First, should try to show that t is bounded, linear, and we'll try to find out the norm value of the operator. First, let me go for linearity. To prove that t is linear. We were going to prove t linear considering the linear combination, right? Now t of alpha x plus y for x, y in x and alpha be element of the field f, or one can say it is a scalar. Correct? Now, what is the definition t of alpha x plus y according to this? Alpha x plus y plus m, no?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the aim to show in order to prove it is linear? We wanted to show this as alpha into t of x plus t of y. Okay, just to make a separation, I am going to use a definition of addition defined in the quotient spaces. I am going to write this element as alpha x plus m plus y plus m. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
By definition of addition in quotient space x by m. Now what is alpha x plus m and y plus m? First let me take the scalar alpha out. Will it be alpha into x plus m added with y plus m? Okay. Therefore this x plus m is nothing but t image of x. Y plus m is nothing but t image of y. Hence we have proved the mapping T is linear. Okay. Let me go for proving boundedness. T is bounded. Okay. Now, in order to show that T is bounded, what I wanted to do, I wanted to show this kind of inequality. You know what kind of inequality to show? Norm of
Norm
T
of
of
t of
x.
x less equal by k into norm of x.
Yes, this kind of inequality one should construct in order to show bounded. But whenever I write norm of T of x, this will be norm of x plus m, no? That
Yes,
is
ma'am.
norm defined in the quotient spaces. But already we have seen in one of the theorem that there is one norm defined on the quotient spaces. Do anyone remember what is the norm we have defined?
Norm 1.
Norm 1 we have defined. Right now, let us use that norm 1 definition to show that this norm of T of x is less than or equals to k into norm of x. Okay. Now here we will write, since M is closed, then the quotient space x by m is norm the linear space. Right now, we know this already. No need to prove it again. With norm, here I will write norm of x plus m is defined. I will not use norm 1. I will just check norm only. This is defined to be inferior norm of x plus m such that m is in m. Is that okay? This is already we
Yes,
have
ma'am.
defined. Only the symbol we have used is norm 1. But here you may use norm 1. Otherwise, here actually we have not used norm 1. No. Let us keep it as norm. Okay. So we know how this norm is defined. Then what should I consider actually? Norm t of x. One should start with the left hand side. No. Here can I write only that is to prove norm t of x less than or equals to k into norm of x. This is the claim, right now? Okay. Therefore, I should start with the left hand side, no? Norm of t of x. But the definition says that this is norm of x plus m. X plus m is a coset of the quotient space, right now? Now this,
Yes, ma'am.
in order to find the norm of this coset, we were going to make use of this definition. Therefore, this is inferior norm of x plus m provided m is in m. How this norm Tx is defined? Inferior of norm of x plus m provided m is in m. Now what the job I am going, I just want to remove this word inferior. Then what will be a relation between norm of t of x and the arbitrary value?
Less equal.
Yes, it is less equal. Okay. Inferior value is this. Therefore, if I remove or if I want the relation between arbitrary element of this set and norm, the relation will be norm t of x is less than or equals to m, and this is for all m in m. Right now? This is for all m in m. Now, we know clearly that m is closed subspace. Rather, it is a subspace only. Therefore, may I substitute the 0 vector, because as it is true for all 0, all the vectors in M. Therefore, may I say it is equally true for the 0 vector as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, here I will write, since M is a subspace, whether it will contain 0 vector or not.
Yes, ma'am.
Above statement is true for m equal to 0 also, right now? Because 0 is the vector in m. We were writing it is true for all vectors. Therefore, we were selecting a particular value. Therefore, let me put m equal to 0. What kind of statement we were getting? Norm of t of x is less than or equals to norm of x, right now? Okay,
Yes,
and no
ma'am.
doubt it is true for all x in x. Here also I can write for all x in x. This is true for all x in x. Let me call this as equation number 1. Look at this. What is the value of k? If I want to prove this kind of inequality.
1.
Yes, it is 1. Therefore, may I say here the function t is bounded? This implies function t is bounded. And lastly, we wanted to show the value of norm t is less than or equals to 1. Let me go for the third step. To prove that norm t is less than or equals to 1. To show this, what I will do, I will try to use the definition number 3, third definition. Before that, from this statement number 1, can I write from this statement number 1, norm t of x is less than or equals to norm of x. Therefore, can I write norm t of x upon norm of x is less than or equals to 1, and I will restrict the value of x to be non-zero. Okay? Now, from definition number 3 of norm t. What is the definition number 3? Norm t equal to supremum norm t of x. Now check how I am using different definitions as per the convenience, right now?
Yes, ma'am.
As per the demand of the proof, right? This is the third definition, right? Okay. Now, what I will do, I'll just take suprema on both the sides of statement number 2. What will happen? take supremum of 2 for different values. And what kind of statement I am getting? Supremum norm T of x upon norm of x provided x is in x, and which condition? X not equals to 0. Now if any arbitrary value is less than or equals to 1, then what about the supremum value? Correct now. 1 acts as the upper bound of the set, no? 1
Yes,
acts
ma'am.
as the upper bound of the set. And what is the suprema? Suprema is least upper bound. And this is upper bound. If what will be the relation? Surely less equal.
Less equal.
Therefore, this is nothing but norm T, no, as per the definition. Therefore, we have proved norm T is less than or equals to 1. Any difficulty if you have, you can ask me. Simple example it is. Okay? Is it okay? Any
Yes,
difficulty
ma'am.
if you have?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Now let me write one more example. Number 4. Now in this example, we are going to show that null space is the closed subspace of X for any operator, for any function. Let T from X to Y be bounded and linear. Okay, comma. How this null space is defined? We are collecting those elements of the domain such that
T of x equal to 0.
equal to 0.
very good, where NT is a null space, or what is the another word?
Kernel of T.
Kernel of T. Correct, na? Kernel of T. And what is asked to show that? Show that this null space NT of T is closed subspace. Actually, whenever this word space involved, this will be actually a subspace. Okay. Therefore, I think they should not give this statement, na? NT is a null space. They have to say simply this is a one subset of your domain and show that this is the closed subspace. Right? No? Okay. In order to show it is a closed subspace, first step we will show it is a subspace. Then we will go for proving the closeness. Right? What should I prove in order to prove NT is a subspace only? How you are showing any subset of a given vector space to be a subspace?
It is itself vector space.
It is itself a vector space, and the necessary and sufficient condition is to check that it is closed under the same operations, addition and scalar multiplication, right now? That is,
Yes,
we were just showing for any two elements, the linear combination belongs to the same set. Okay, here I will write, let X and Y are the two elements of the null space, then it is enough to prove. What is enough to prove? Alpha X plus Y belongs to N of T. Correct now? That is, NT is closed under addition and scalar multiplication. If my aim is to show alpha X plus Y is in NT, what will be the starting, or what should I prove actually? The T image of this element is 0. Correct now? So let me just consider T of alpha X plus Y. T of alpha X plus Y. Is the voice and screen both are clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Some noise I have. Okay. Okay. Now, first thing we know that T is linear. So, can I write this as alpha Tx plus Ty? Okay. Now, let us use the property as X and Y are the elements of null space. What are their T images?
0. 0.
Reason X, Y are the elements of null spaces. Therefore, here what we will obtain? The image of alpha x plus y is 0. Therefore, alpha x plus y belongs to null space. Therefore, can I say NT is subspace of the given space. Subspace of X. Now, what is the second step we will show? This is closed, right now? How we were showing closeness?
Limit points of
Hmm?
belongs to that set only.
Yes. But here what we will do? We will start with an arbitrary limit point of the given space and we will show that the limit point belongs to the same space, right? Let X be any limit point of n of t. Whenever we were saying limit point, may I write? It implies there exists a sequence xn, say, in np such that, what such that? Xn converges to x as n tends to infinity. Let me call it as statement number 1. Okay? Okay? Now, what we wanted to show? X is in NT. If I wanted to show X is in NT, its T image must be 0. The T image of X must be 0. To show this, what I will do, as we were starting with the sequence Xn in NT, Xn in NT, therefore what you think, what will be the limit point of the sequence Xn? Here I will write simply as
Zero.
Xn, yes, as Xn is in NT, may I write, this is for all n, may I write the T image, Txn is 0 for all n. If Txn is 0 for all n, can I write this sequence Txn converges to 0 as n tends to infinity, correct? Let me call this as statement number 2. But it is given that the function is bounded and linear. Therefore, may I say it is continuous also? This is the
Yes,
property of
ma'am.
linearity, right? Okay. Therefore, if it is continuous, what should be this? What should this statement gives me? Xn converges to x, t continuous.
T of xn converges to T of x.
T of x. Same sequence converging to two different limits. Therefore, the limits must be equal. Therefore, we will get Tx of equal to 0, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We know that as T is linear and bounded, where T is continuous. T is continuous. Now, from this 1, what can I write from 1 then? T of xn converges to T of x as n tends to infinity. Let me call this as 3. Right? Now look at statement number 2 and 3. 2 tells us Txn converges to 0. 3 tells us Txn converges to T of x. So combinedly, what can I say?
T of x equal to 0.
T of x is equal to 0. If T of x is equals to 0, x is in
L
null
of T.
space of T, right? Therefore, we have started with our arbitrary limit point and we have shown that the limit point is in the same space. Or I can write like this. This closure is contained in N of T. Set of all limit points is the subset of the given space. Hence, NT is
Closed.
closed subspace of domain, right now X. Closed subspace of the domain X. Okay. Understood this fourth example also? In this fourth example, we have shown that null space of T is closed subspace of T. Okay. Now we are moving ahead to the next section of bounded linear operators. Set up all bounded linear operators. Okay. Now we were going to consider all the bounded linear operators P defined from X to Y type having the property bounded and linear. Okay. And all such elements we were collecting in one set, and the set we were denoting by a symbol capital B of XY. Capital B of XY. Okay. If the operators are only linear, then the set is denoted by L of XY. Correct? Therefore, L of XY is set of all linear operators. Set of linear operators. That of B of XY is set of bounded linear operators. Can you tell me which one is subset of the other? Whether B of XY will be a subset of L of XY or L of XY will be a subset of B of XY.
B of XY is subset of L of XY.
Very good. B of XY is subset of L of XY. Okay. Now the aim in this next section is to show that this B of XY is a subspace of L of XY. B of XY is subspace of L of XY. Actually, here we were assuming, you can check it orally also, L of XY is a vector space under the two operations of usual pointwise addition and scalar multiplication of the functions. Okay. Now our aim is to show that as this is a subset of L of XY, our aim is to show that this will be a subspace. Okay. Therefore, is this point clear to everyone? B of XY is the collection P such that P is a mapping from X to Y is bounded linear. Okay. And what about L of XY? L of XY is collection of all P defined from X to Y is linear, where X and Y are normed linear spaces over the same field K. Over the same field K. Okay. Now here we were going to put a remark. L of XY is a vector space under the addition and scalar multiplication. How this addition and scalar multiplication defined? Let me tell you. Let me write this kind of symbol. T and S. Two operators defined on X. Yes, what is pointwise addition tells us? This is T of X plus S of X. And what for scalar multiplication? Right now? If you want to check whether it is a vector space, you can check it orally. Whether T plus S is an element of this L of XY by checking this linearity property and all. Okay. Here we will assume with the vector space. Now we were going to show that B of XY, as it is a subset, now we will show it will be a subspace. Now what should I show in order to show it is a subspace? Here in this N of T we have done. What we have done here, in order to show N of T is the subspace of X, we have checked it is closed under addition and scalar multiplication. Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Here also we do the same thing. As this N of T definition was easier for us, we have combinedly done both the operations, addition and scalar multiplication. But in this next theorem, we will prove separately that B of XY is closed under addition and B of XY is closed under scalar multiplication. Now this is my next theorem. Okay, before that I forgot to tell you one more remark. Whenever we have same domain and codomain, then the set of all bounded linear operators is defined to be bxx and is denoted by bx simply. Okay. Here we have considered the mappings from x to y. No, that's why it is b of xy. But if both domain codomain will be same, then it is bx only. Now what is to show that b of xy is a subspace of L of xy. Okay? Is that okay to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now to show b of xy is a subspace of L of xy, what we will do? We will show it is closed under, which is closed under addition and scalar multiplication. Is that okay? Let E and S be the two elements in B of xy, right? Then prove that. What to prove that? T plus S belongs to B of xy and alpha T belongs to B of xy. Is that okay? What is the method
Yes,
to
ma'am.
show T plus S is in B of xy? What is the condition on B of xy we have? The mapping should be bounded and linear both. The mapping should be bounded and linear both. Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, what should I show actually? T plus S is bounded and linear. Alpha T is also bounded and linear. Correct now? Both these two mappings, T plus S and alpha T, both are bounded and linear. Okay. Therefore, let me write this as part 1 or step 1 of the proof. What I will do in this first part, I will show that T plus S is linear and bounded. Okay. Is that okay? Now let us start proving linearity first, and then we will go for boundedness. Therefore, consider x, y be the two vectors in X, alpha be any scalar. Therefore, now I am showing T plus S is linear. Therefore, may I operate T plus S on alpha x plus y?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope there is no confusion. Okay. T plus S linear we were showing. Therefore, T plus S is operated on the scalar linear combination of the two vectors in the domain. Now, how this is operated? Already we have defined. How this is operated? Addition pointwise, right now? Pointwise addition, pointwise scalar multiplication. Therefore, how this is defined? T.
T of alpha x plus y plus S of alpha x plus y.
Very good. Next, now we know as T and S are the elements of B of xy. Therefore, both are bounded and linear. Correct? Therefore, let us use the linearity of T and S. Reason T and S are linear. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now
Yes,
let
ma'am.
me collect the terms of alpha together and remaining terms in one bracket. Therefore, now can I use the definition again, pointwise operation, to write this as T plus S operated on X and T plus S operated on Y. Okay? Therefore, what this shows? T plus S is
Linear.
linear. Now what remains to show t plus s is bounded again. Okay. Now in order to show t plus s is bounded, first we know that both t and s are bounded. Correct now? Here can I write? T, S are bounded and linear. Correct now? Therefore already t and s are bounded. Therefore let me write this first. Again, as t and s are bounded, as t and s are bounded, it implies there exists some k1 greater than 0 and say k2 greater than 0 such that, what such that? Norm of t of x is less than or equals to k1 into norm of x. Similarly, norm of s of x is less than or equals to k2 into norm of x and is true for all x in x, right? This is what we have written boundedness property of the operators. Now, in order to show t plus s is bounded, what should I consider? Norm of
T plus s of x.
Right, t plus s of x. And what is my aim to show? This is less equal by some scalar into norm of x. Correct? Okay. Let us use pointwise operation first. Is it t of x plus s of x?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let us use the linear triangular inequality property of the norm function to separate both the norms. By norm property, can I write? Norm property. Okay. Now, but we know this norm t of x is less than or equals to k1 into norm of x. That of this s of x is less than or equals to k2 into norm of x. Let me put both the values. K1 into norm of x plus k2 into norm of x. Let me take k1 norm of x common and we remains with k1 plus k2 into norm of x. If both k1 k2 are positive, what about k1 plus k2?
Positive.
Positive. Okay. Therefore, what this implies? T plus s is
Bounded.
bounded. Thus, we have both the properties with T plus s now. T plus s is linear and bounded. T plus s is linear and bounded. Therefore, one can now write as T plus s belongs to V of xy. Okay, that is V of xy we have proved closed under addition. Now it's a time to show that it is closed under scalar multiplication. I will write this as part 2. Now what is the aim to show? Alpha t is
Linear.
linear and bounded. Again for this what I will start with? I will start with two vectors xy in x and alpha b scalar. What should I consider? Let me go to the next page. Alpha t operated on alpha x plus, sorry, alpha t I am writing now. I'll change my scalar. Can I make it beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Here also I make it as beta. Beta x plus y. Okay, now how this is operated? Pointwise operation.
Alpha of t of beta x plus y.
Alpha into t of beta x plus y. Correct now? Let me recall the definition. Alpha t operated on x is alpha into t of x, not alpha of t of x. Right? Now alpha into t of b, alpha into t of b of beta x plus y, but t is linear. Therefore, this is beta x, beta into t of x plus t of y. Reason t linear. Right. Now let me multiply. Now what should I do next? Can anyone tell me? Shall I multiply by alpha?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I'll just change the position of the scalars. What I will do, I will write this as beta into alpha into t of x. And this I will write alpha into t of y. And according to this definition, alpha into t of x is alpha t operated on x. Similarly, here it is alpha t operated on y. Therefore, what we have proved, alpha t is linear. Okay. Now let us go for proving the boundedness property again. No need to write. Now this already we have written somewhere. T is bounded with this condition and all. Okay, let me directly consider norm of alpha t operated on x. What is the aim to show? This is less equal by some scalar into norm of x. Let me first use the definition. This is alpha into t of x. Right? Now let me use a norm property to take the scalar out with the modulus. Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Now here I can write as t is bounded. May I write this is less than or equals to mod alpha into some k1 we have written previously. K1 into norm of x. I think we are not given the number, no? I'll just call this to be some 1. It's from 1. Or one can say t is bounded. Okay. Now, what is the nature of mod alpha and k1? K1 is no doubt positive. Therefore, this together gives me a scalar mod alpha into k1. What is the inequality we have obtained? Mod alpha norm of alpha t of x is less than or equals to some scalar into norm of x. Therefore, may I say alpha t is bounded. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hence alpha t is linear and bounded, both we have proved. Linear and bounded, this implies alpha t belongs to b of xy. Okay, thus can I say directly b of xy is subspace of L of xy. Okay, b of xy is subspace of L of xy. Now the next theorem is to show that this b of xy is normed linear space. B of xy is a normed linear space where norm is defined by. How this norm is defined? Norm of the operator definition we will use. First definition, supremum norm t of x provided x is in x and norm x less than or equals to 1. That is, under this definition of operator norm, our aim is to show that b of xy is a normed linear space. But what to prove actually? Yes? In order to show that this norm b of xy is a norm linear space, or this norm defined is a norm on the given space. How many conditions to verify?
4 conditions.
4 conditions.
4 conditions we have to check. Right? Okay? Let us go for proving one by one. To prove that b of xy is a normed linear space. Okay. What to do? We will verify, or we will verify. We will verify 4 conditions of norm. Right? What will be my first condition?
Norm is not negative.
To prove that norm t, because the nature of element is functions in this b of xy. Therefore, the aim is to show that norm T is non-negative. What is norm T? This is defined like this, right? Consider norm T. How it is defined? This is supremum norm T of x, provided x is in x and norm x is less than or equals to 1. Can anyone tell me this is non-negative or not? What is the nature of norm T of x? Is a function defined from x to y. Already these x and y are given to be the normed linear spaces. Correct now? That is, whatever is this norm defined on x is a norm. Similarly, norm defined on this y is also a norm. That is norm x and norm of t of x. Both are the norms. Therefore, it has to these two norms satisfy the four properties of norm already. Now we were checking for norm of the function. Correct now? Therefore, what is the nature of norm of t of x? But
Non-negative, ma'am.
yes, it is non-negative. Now check, every element in this set is non-negative. What about suprema?
Non-negative.
Non-negative. Will I write directly? Non-t is non-negative. Okay? Every element is non-negative, hence suprema is non-negative. Let us go for the second condition. What to prove in the second condition?
Norm T equal to 0 implies T of x equal to 0.
Implies and implied by both. Correct now?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me consider. Let me start with norm T equal to 0. Now this is implies and implied by. Let us write the definition. Supremum. Okay. Now here I am going. Okay, first let me write the definition. Norm T of x. X is in x, provided norm x is less than or equals to 1, and this is equal to 0. Now in order to prove the result, to make it simpler, what I am going to use is, I am going to use the third equivalent definition to this statement. What is the third equivalent definition? Third one. Correct? And what is the restriction? X is not equal to 0. Because we cannot make a claim for an arbitrary norm of t of x due to this condition. Because it will be restricted only for those elements of the domain with this condition, rather the elements of the closed unit sphere. But I want to make the generalization of the result. That's why I am switching to the third definition. In the third definition, we have only this condition, that the vector is non-zero. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, check. The nature of every element is non-negative. Norm T of x upon norm of x, both are non-negative. Where the suprema is giving you 0. Set of all non-negative terms, where the suprema value is 0. What is the value of arbitrary element? Any element?
That element must be 0.
0, correct? So can I write directly norm of t of x upon norm of x? This is equal to 0 for all x in x, provided x is non-zero. Okay? Why we were writing every element is 0? Because, shall I write the definition? Each element in the set is non-negative and the supremum is 0. It implies every element is 0. Right now? Okay. Now, if norm t of x upon norm of x is equal to 0, can I write directly norm of t of x is equal to 0? Right?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
For all x in x, x not equal to 0. If none of t of x is equal to 0, may I write t of x is equal to 0?
Yes.
Now check. T of x is 0 for all x in x. What will be the nature of your t?
Zero function.
Yes, it is 0. This is function. Remember, 0 function. This is 0 function. We were restricting this for x non-zero. If it is 0 function, may I say it is equally true for x equal to 0 also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Therefore, can I write directly for all x in x now? Second condition is verified. Let us go for third. What to prove in the third? Norm of t plus s less than or equals to norm t plus norm of s. Okay, here you have to go with this definition, suprema norm t of x. What will be the definition then? Supremum. This I am going to keep for homework. You have to try on your own. Norm of t plus s of x, x is in x, and norm x is less than or equals to 1. What you should do now next, you have to separate the norm and norm t and norm s, and accordingly you have to make the next steps. Okay, therefore you try for this third property and fourth property. Both are very easy to prove. This first you have to make pointwise operation, t of x plus s of x. Then use triangular inequality. Then separate the suprema on the defined norms. Okay, you will get the corresponding result. And try for the fourth property of scalar multiplication also. Okay. Now in the next lecture, what we will do? We will go for proving b of xy is complete space provided y is complete. Let me stop for today. If you have any difficulty on today's lecture, you can ask me. It seems no difficulties. Let me stop then. Thank you for being with me.